Hi, welcome to another episode of Every Brick in the Wall. For today's episode, we have Sonia Angarogli, who's a third generation entrepreneur in a family business which has completed 6 decades in Pune. Hi, Sonia, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Rohit. Thank you for having me on the show. Right.
Hi, so could you tell us more about how it all started?
Yes, sure. So, Angar and Company is my family business that I am handling at the moment. Uh, my grandfather, late Subhash Angar, he started the company in 1966. He began with doing small contracting work. He started building bungalows and small apartments, G plus 2, G plus 3. And that's how he got into the business. At that time, land acquisition was the main thing. We built from scratch. My grandfather started with just two people in his office, just an office boy, him, and a draftsman. He was the supervisor, he was the purchase head, he was the accountant, everything. And we had a small office on Tirak Road. That is where he started. Shortly later, my father and uncle both became civil engineers and joined the business. And now, since in the 2000s, me and my brother both have joined the business. My brother is a civil engineer, Sohan Angar, and I am from the management side. So all now it's the three generations that look after the business. Well, that when you say how did I join the business, frankly speaking, it was never in my agenda to join the business. Although I was very much intrigued by the idea of being the boss and handling the corporate world, it was always intriguing. I did my management from the UK, and since then, I think my father always had a plan of absorbing me in the company. There was no real idea of heading the company in any way, but I was always doing tidbits around the company. And shortly later, as and when you step into the business and start getting hold of it, it just became very, very interesting. And now I can say I'm absolutely addicted to working. And I am the partner now in the company.
That's great to know. And one thing I've always wanted to ask people who eventually join family businesses, second gen, third gen, and there were a lot of people who also are from the fourth and fifth gen. Initial calling that most of them have, that from being a kid, this is the only thing you've heard at the dinner table during family holidays. Did that influence you to later on probably think about getting into the family business, or what was the final turning point that you actually took the decision to come into this?
So as a kid, like you said, obviously I was exposed to the business. My grandfather and father both are absolutely workaholics. So they eat, drink, and sleep business. And so we are all used to listening to those conversations. And being an 80s child, I'm sure even you relate to it that whatever the grandfather does, the father does, and whatever the father does, the son or the daughter does. So we all as a family, we used to sit together and discuss the goods and bads of the day. But being a joint family, we always lived in a joint family. The elders do the talking, we just do the listening. So there was a lot of observation that happened as a child. My grandfather, I remember in a very olden days, there used to be these big blueprints, if you remember. They used to be folded in a very nice origamic way. And those big plans used to be brought home every time a plan got finalized. So, like I said, we used to basically handle land acquisition. So, once a layout was finalized of a particular plan, he used to really bring it home. To tell you a secret, my grandmother Vidya Angar is also was also a partner of the company. So I think ethically and morally, my grandfather thought, and of course they were extremely close as a couple. And a very rare part of the times that the woman is actively involved. Maybe not decision making, but she always gave a ear to the whole discussion.
Is an integral part of the firm.
Absolutely. She knows each and every detail, each and every number. Even today, for that matter, now that my grandfather's not there, my father shares each and every detail to her. It's a nice perspective, and she's seen the growth. She also actually comes from a construction family. Her father was a very big developer as well. SV Natekar and Sons was their company. And my grandfather used to work under his own father-in-law. And then he, of course, after marriage, very diligently worked out and started Ungrand Company. So I was very used to seeing these plans that came home, and it used to be unfolded on the table, and he used to show us around that how the plan is going to come around. And so it was, as a child, I've always seen that. As little kids, our office used to be, actually is rather, even today, right in front of Kamala Nehru Park. My grandfather had a very nice attachment to the park. So after every playtime that we went in the weekdays, if ever we had a break, our office was right opposite the park. So I was used to walking in and out of office just for fun of it, to just drink a glass of water, and then I used to peep into the cabins and see what's going on. So we used to, in those days, I remember we had those 3D models that were kept in the office. Now we have 3D perspectives, but in those days, there used to be actual models done in 3D, how the building is
Yeah.
going to look like, or how the bungalow is going to look like. So I used to observe that. So yeah, I was exposed to the business. Of course, there were some hardships also, some bad days, some tensions that my father, grandfather brought home, and we all respected that. We saw the tiredness that they come home to, and it was always fascinating to see what exactly happens. And I've been on construction sites as well as a child to see how the things unfold, right from a bhumi pujan to the possession. So I've probably must have attended multiple bhumi pujans with my father as a child.
Since you mentioned you must have attended many Bhumi Pujans, can you give us a number as to how many projects Anga and Company has completed in Pune?
Very interestingly, we have never tattooed, I would say, in a good way, that never documented the number of projects. Only right now that we started advertising and marketing our company, I sat down with my grandfather and I said, "Can you give me a number?" And I went on and on and on and writing, but close to 200 projects we have completed in Pune. This includes bungalows, contracting, buildings, societies, commercials, ashrams, and multiple projects that
So
everybody
that's
collectively has handled.
that's a huge amount of work.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely.
And do you feel in today's age putting this across is also equally important? A lot of people do good work, don't talk about it. In today's age, with the kind of customers that you're dealing with, do you think it's important to tell them that this is the kind of number of projects that you have delivered for credibility?
Um, since we say that we have completed 60 years, I would say about 30% of our customers are repeat customers. So for the longest time, with God's grace, we never needed to tell anybody where we are, who we are, what we do, etc. Because it was always word of mouth. Our projects got sold out even before, always rather before they got completed, even halfway through rather. It was only because of word of mouth. अनग्रँड कंपनी एखादी प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च करतोय म्हटल्यावरच लोक किंवा पाठी लागली, हे प्रोजेक्ट चालू झालंय, हे तुम्ही करताय का? तेव्हाच लोक येऊन बुकिंग सुरू करायचे. तेव्हा ऑफकोर्स रेराबिरा असं काही वेळ घालवणाऱ्या गोष्टी नव्हत्या. पण सो लकीली कधी तेव्हा वेळ आली नाही. बट ऑफकोर्स इन टुडेज डे एंड एज, we have a lot of outsiders who are entering Pune. A lot of people outside, a new generation who doesn't know who we are, or the competition is increasing. I feel there is a need to really show what you are doing, how you are doing it, and what the basic principles around working uh, your company is.
Okay. So, which year did you actually start working?
I really did start working actually from college itself.
But full time per se, mein.
Full time, I must have started 2007, right after my master's.
So by that time, your company was already 51 years old.
Yes.
Sorry, 41 years old,
Correct.
roughly. So every generation that comes into office always has a tough time, apart from convincing your parents that you want to get in the driver's seat, but also you face a lot of challenges with the legacy employees.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, the team eventually has to fall in line with your vision, your thought. When you got on board, especially like a woman coming into a family run business and then changing the way things are done, what kind of challenges did you face?
Uh, So I started in 2007, like I said, right after I finished my master's. As I was always in and out of office, in and out of, I was, I knew all the people working with us, the staff, the contractors, even the vendors to some extent. As a child, we have a nice family bonding. We never think of them as outsiders. They're very much an integral part of our company. So I knew them by names. They knew me by names. Of course, they're much senior
Seniors,
people
yeah.
who work maybe my dad's age. So I knew about them. I knew of them. So it was never a thing that, who are you or how does it happen? It was never alien to me. But when I actually started doing, maybe somewhere people must have thought, I would say, that I'm a little more approachable. I'm much younger. So if they have any problems, even if it could be payment related or billing related, or if there are customers who have certain internal problems or some kind of issues, or if they want certain things done in a specific way, I probably was, I acted as a bridge between the main management, which is my grandfather and a father, and my stakeholders. So I started with understanding people's problems or certain kind of lacking where if we were a little bit, it was not, it was always a well-oiled company, but there were certain things where a little bit of maybe compassion or empathy I brought in my own way, being a woman. And that probably made it a little more connecting to my contractors. And obviously, I didn't jump into the management right away. I was working as a junior accountant in college days as a part time pocket money kind of a thing. That's probably a part of my dad's plan. And I see it how I and how now. So I knew how the things were rolling, what our systems were right then. And then when I joined into management, into the company, slowly and gradually I took hold of every department.
So that was seamless.
I wouldn't say it was seamless. So to give you why and how I joined the company, very interestingly again, in 2006 when I was doing my masters in the UK, my elective subject, my specialized subject, you can say, was quality management. And we have to do a thesis, like a dissertation kind of a thing at the end
Paper
of it.
submission.
Correct. And that is towards the end of your course. And that time I did my subject was quality management in construction and how we could bring on systems. Today we have ERP and SAP and etc. And it's become very easy. But back then, when I'm saying 2006 and 7, it wasn't that rampant in construction. When you say construction, it's a multifaceted business, a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation, a lot of permissions, and a lot of processes, rather, right from due diligence planning to handover and then even after sales. So my father had a dream of getting under the ISO certification, which is the International Standards Organization. So he had a dream of a vision, rather, to get a construction company under that certification, which was never heard of back then.
Right.
So he kind of very subtly put me into that role. He wanted me to head it right after my management certification. And once I got done with my master's, I was introduced to this system. And like we said, we are a multifaceted company. We have multiple operations in the company. We had to bring down every process, document it, make a flow chart of it. What is the starting point? What is the end point? What are the checkpoints in between? And I was working very closely with our consultants, between my father, me, and our consultants. So that kind of widened my horizon and made me aware of how many different processes, systems are a part of this company, and how to streamline it, how to make it less documentation, more accountability, and more effectiveness. And luckily, in 2007, right after about in a year's time, we began the process in 2005. Right after I joined in 2007, we were one of the first companies to get ISO 9001 certificate.
I'm sure back then getting an ISO was a really big thing.
It was. And it is a lot of compliance, it's a lot of credibility, and a lot of help to structure your entire organization.
So since we're talking about generational business, so along with you, I understand your brother also joined. So when did your brother join the business?
So 2009 is when he joined. He finished his civil engineering from COEP, and then he did his masters. He joined in 2009-10.
Since I also come from a generational family business where I'm working with my brother, one of the most important things is striking a balance with work segregation and not poking your nose into the other's field of work. How do you balance that with your brother?
So my brother Sohan is a civil engineer, like I said. So he's excellent at his technical knowledge. He's excellent with numbers, number crunching, and definitely more disciplined than what I am. So he handles the more technical part of it, and I am automatically now handling the non-technical part of it. I'm more of a extrovert, so I like to take care of the sales and the revenue. I take care of the HR admin as well, and legal department also falls under me. So we've kind of segregated the departments between us. So being on sites, supervision, quality control is what he heads. So he's all over the place wherever the projects are going, and I am in opposite into that, putting my feet in the office at any given time. So we've kind of divided the department. So there's no real interference, but obviously there is an overlap of everything when it comes to work and handling the business. So we are very much in touch with each other. Decisions are taken together. And our boss, my father, is handling the whole strings together, holding it together. So both of us report to him at the end of the day, and he's the boss. He will take the final call.
Great. So having found a balance, I think, is very important when you're working with siblings.
Yes.
And it's good to know that there are a lot of siblings who still manage to find that fine balance and
For
take the
sure.
business forward.
Absolutely.
Right? Every time it's good to see siblings in business. So being the third generation, your generation one started off, they had something to offer. Second generation, your father and your uncle joined the business. They probably changed a few things. Now, with the third generation, what is the pressure on you and your brother in terms of taking it into a different direction or a different scale? And what is it that you aspire as third generation for your business?
So like they say that the first generation makes it, second generation grows it, and third generation is known to be complacent. The only thing we have strived hard to not be is complacent. We've not been brought up, and thanks to my parents for that, me and my brother, both of us, we don't take things very lightly. We work very hard every day, manage our time and manage our schedules, and keep our priorities, which is work, on top of everything. So we don't really, as a routine now, we don't take it very lightly. We definitely believe that legacies are not something which is just given to you as a heritage or something. Very much it comes with a lot of responsibility. In my company, we might be the third generation only, but as I don't know whether many people know, but if you are from Pune, you will know that Angars are predominantly the trustees of Chatushungi temple. So we are probably the 10th or the 11th generation of being the priests, technically, the pujaris of this temple. So that it also, actually, we've been taught from a very young age of how to go about the worshipping, the rituals, or we've seen it right since our birth, rather. So that is one part of the legacy, and this is another part of legacy. So no legacy really comes with it comes easy to you, it's passed on to you, but there's a hell lot of responsibility upon you to be more answerable to people of uh, what you're supposed to deliver, what you're supposed to give back. Talking about the company, when we sat on the management seats now, that me and my brothers sit on it, the most difficult part is sustaining and living up to that principles that our past generations have set for us. To be the same way that they have been is what is more difficult. Well, it doesn't is not impossible either, because if you have your mind and heart aligned to that kind of a vision, it probably falls automatically. honesty, transparency, trust are not just names, but we've lived up to that. Money was just followed if you follow these
Incidental.
three. Absolutely. It always comes. Sometimes it comes less, sometimes it comes more. But that's never been our criteria of doing business. It's more to deliver honestly, on time, and just fulfill dreams that we've seen together.
Since you talk about principles, and with the kind of competition today, the whole market is pretty open. You have a lot of new entrants. You have three people coming together, two people coming together, setting up a firm, going all out. I'm sure your smile says a lot. How difficult or how easy it is for someone who has chosen to follow your principles and not probably bend in any way to still sustain in today's market.
So, what principles I follow is what you want to ask?
So, with the principles that you follow, so like you said, there are people who follow a certain set of ethical principles,
Correct.
and there are those who don't.
Correct.
Since the market is open, that so the barrier to entry into construction redevelopment is very, it's absolutely a walk in the park.
Absolutely.
Anyone and everyone can get in.
Absolutely.
For people who have been working in a certain way with principles, how does this new open market affect the way you do business, and does it push your principles at times?
There does definitely come a time when we have to sit back and say that, are we going to lose the project to a few percentage, or are we still going to fight for it? Is what probably all the builders and developers will today think of before giving it up in a tendering zone. Like where with redevelopment all the way, there is a lot of tendering that happens, or in any small project because of competition. There's a lot of tenders. Back in the day when my grandfather was had begun his company, there was tendering was there, but for more government or institutional projects, not for day-to-day land development projects for that matter. So at that time, people came to him and said, आम्हाला जर घर बनवायचं असेल तर ते तुमच्याकडनंच हवंय, कारण तुमच्यावरती ब्लाइंड विश्वास आहे. अग्रीमेंट्स असो, कुठलेही लीगल डॉक्युमेंट्स असो, देवर पीपल हू बेअरली कुड रीड अँड राईट, किंवा त्यांना त्यातली लीगल भाषा फारशी कळायची नाही. सो देअर केम अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडन्स अँड ट्रस्ट विथ माय ग्रँडफादर्स एरा दॅट टाइम, की तुम्ही जे कराल ते बरोबरच आहे, तुम्ही सांगाल तिथे सही करू. विथ अस इट्स नॉट द सेम नाव. With so many competitors, with so much exposure, so much of social media and learning tools available for everybody, people want to be well informed of where they're entering, how they're entering. So when we are bidding for a project, for example, we need to take a lot of things into consideration. Like you said, there are many entrants, and when anybody and everybody can be developers, yes, and it's a very profitable, obviously, thing. But where majority of people go wrong, where we don't, is, I would say, planning and estimation. Because we've seen decades of cycles in a business. My father has witnessed the ups and downs, and he's a big part of the business, which we are thankful that his experience plays in work every day. We know what to predict, what not to predict, how to have that cushioning while you're planning a project per se. So there are many difficulties which may arise right from excavation till completion, from government levels at material procurement levels, at sanctioning level, and of course at completion levels as well. Whatever you plan is just in the air, is based on certain assumptions. Not every time the assumptions will come true. Not every time your numbers will make sense. Now, with the expertise and the experience, I think my company will be the one who will be as close to the estimation and the actuals than anyone in the business.
So this makes sure that every time you commit to something, you're able to deliver.
Absolutely. We will deliver, and we have been delivering as promised. We probably over deliver many a times, whatever is not promised, but we still give more, and definitely on time, or many a times before time as well.
Since we moved our topic to redevelopment, and this is something that is probably the next big wave in Pune at the moment, which are the specific areas your company has been focusing? Because Pune now has a lot of micro markets. They have their own ecosystems. So, for example, the old Pune, which is typically Prabhat, Karve Road to Ganesh Kind, that's still considered the old Pune. You have Kothurud, Srinagar Road pockets, East Pune, right up to Kharadi and Wakad, all the way up to the expressway. Which are the areas that your company is focusing on, and what kind of new project USPs are you offering whenever you're going on redevelopment?
We have always constructed in central Pune. It all began here, and I think we understand this clientele very well. Now we have names like HNIs to that clientele, but these have been predominantly people from Pune. Punekars, very much, if I may say, Marathi speaking, Marathi living people. So we do understand what they want, what are their needs. We have ventured into West Pune in the past. We've done a few projects there, but we've always known this area, this clientele, and how it works. And this being the most prime and most expensive part of Pune, I think this is where we focus always.
So, do you typically in a year, do you plan the number of projects that you would be handling in a year to make sure that you're able to give equal time and make sure that the project turnaround in today's age, turnaround is very important?
Correct, absolutely.
So, do you plan for a specific number of projects every year?
Yes, we always try to overlap our projects. So once we begin a couple of them, we get it to a mid level and then only get into the next project. So there's an overlap of processes, I would say, progress of the project. So not more than 5 projects in 2 years is probably our capacity and our focus rather. We don't want to venture into more than that at a time.
Since both of us are strong on the whole Puneri aspect, टिपिकली आजूबाजूची लोक आणि हा प्रश्न मी स्पेसिफिकली मराठीत विचारतोय, बिझनेसमध्ये थर्ड जनरेशन, तुमचं बरं चाललंय का तुमचं बरं आहे, आणि सिटिंग इन द ड्रायव्हर सीट, हाऊ डिफिकल्ट इज इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द परसेप्शन की तुमचं बरं चाललंय आणि ऍक्च्युअली बिईंग ऑन द ड्रायव्हर सीट आणि शोईंग अप एव्हरी डे अँड द होल पार्ट ऑफ बिझनेस, किती फरक पडतो? तर तुम्ही जेव्हा येतात, तुमचं बरं चाललंय?
खूप येतात टोमणे. पण आता ऑफकोर्स आता या धंद्यात 15-20 वर्ष राहून टोमणे खायची पण सवय होते आणि आपणही थिक स्किन्ड होऊन जातो आणि ती व्हायलाच लागते पुणेकरांना. त्यामुळे आय थिंक सुरुवातीला ते जरा त्रास व्हायचा, वाईट वाटायचं. म्हणजे खरं सांगू तर ॲट टाईम्स रडली सुद्धा आहे मी. मोर मोर द रिझन कारण क्लिशेड आपण म्हणू तसं, की तू मुलगी आहेस, वडिलांच्याच कंपनीत काम करतेस. तिथे काय आहे, तुला केबिन मिळालंय, बसली असशील, टाईमपास करत, Facebook बघत. हा एक थोडासा पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह असायचा आणि व्हेअरएज मला माहिती आहे, की बिहाइंड द सीन्स मला जे काम दिलेलं असायचं, जे डिपार्टमेंट्स मी हँडल करायचे, काय तडजोड यायची, रातोरात काहीतरी प्रॉब्लेम एखादा यायचा, काहीतरी क्लिक होत नसायचं, कोणातरी कन्व्हर्ट करायचंय, त्यांच्या मागण्या ज्या होत्या त्या आपल्याला अॅड्रेस करायला लागतात. त्या कशा करायला पाहिजे ह्याच्यात बरेच स्ट्रगल होती. एकत्रित येऊन ती गोष्ट घडवून आणण्यासाठी एव्हरी डे वेगळे-वेगळे चॅलेंजेस यायचे आणि त्याच्यासाठी काम करत असताना कुणीतरी आजूबाजूने तुम्हाला पिना मारतंय किंवा हे जे बोलतंय, अर्थात वाईट वाटतं. पण त्यांची काही चूक नाही. ते काय मला ऑफिसमध्ये येऊन बघत नाहीत. सुरुवातीला पण मी बऱ्याच वेळा आजही म्हणते, की सुरुवातीला मी खूप लोकांना स्पष्टीकरण द्यायचे, की "असं नाहीये, मी खरंच काम करते. असं नाहीये, बघा तुम्हाला हवं तर" वगैरे. पण आय थिंक थँक्स टू विक्रम माझा नवरा आणि माझी आई आर द वन्स हू काइंड ऑफ कंट्रोल माय टेम्पर, आर अ बिग कॅटलिस्ट टू माय एव्हरीडे वर्किंग. जे सांगतात, की "अगं लक्ष नको देऊ, तुझं काम करत राहा." आणि सेम विथ माय ब्रदर फॉर दॅट मॅटर, की तुम्हाला जेव्हा मी म्हटलं तसं एक गादी दिलेली असते बसायला, त्या गादीचा महत्त्व हा फक्त त्या व्यक्तीलाच कळत असतो. इतरांना ती मजा वाटते, की तुम्हाला एक मिळाली आहे, तुम्ही बसलाय आणि तुम्ही गादी चालवताय. पण ती चालवणं, अक्षरशः चालवणं हे किती अवघड असतं हे फक्त आम्हालाच माहिती. आणि अर्थात जेव्हा काही कालावधी पुढे जातो, एक 10-15 वर्ष आता आम्ही ही गाडी चालवतोय. असं नाही की आता काही छोटा काळ झाला आहे आणि ह्याच्या अंडर आमच्या स्वतःची आता माझे आणि माझ्या भावाचे मिळून आम्ही जवळ-जवळ स्वतःहून 7-8 प्रोजेक्ट्स तरी सुरुवात ते शेवटपर्यंत बघितले आहेत आणि आणले आहेत आमच्या अ, पदराखाली. म्हटल्यावर आता तो कॉन्फिडन्स आला आणि आता काही फरक पडत नाही कोणी काही बोललं तरी.
So you're going to be past the snipes and comments that come across from people around you.
ॲब्सोल्युटली.
Since you handle a lot of liaison related work, interaction with government bodies, the sales, the marketing part, do people take you seriously?
They better do take me seriously because I am the person who will listen to them and make the change. Yes, there are very few women in this business, very unfortunately. I do work very closely with our Builders Association, which is Credai Pune. If, for example, to give you a perspective, there are 3,000 developers all over Pune. There could not even 30 women are business leaders or in the direct management of decision making chairs amongst these 3,000 companies. So you can make a guess of how little women are on this in this position. I don't blame the women or why it must have happened is because our business is predominantly very risky, and risk is not it's not defined whether it'll come in the beginning of it or the end of it. It is out and out a risky business. So I think they want to stay away from this. Somehow I owe it to my father and grandfather that they thought that I'm capable of this risky business. And of course, they have my back, and that's why I'm here continuing the same way.
So you mentioned that you work very actively with Credai. So I understand you got an award recently. Can you tell us more about it?
So, yes, I did get an award of the Best Woman in Real Estate Entrepreneur Award by Credai Maharashtra. We have this 2-yearly conference called Femicon, where women in construction all over Maharashtra come together, and we try to hold talks by women for the women of the women. So this was an award function hosted by Credai Maharashtra, and I was honored and privileged to get this award.
Heartiest congratulations and
Thank
wishing you get
you.
many more awards.
Thank you.
Uh, given a choice, would you let your daughter get into this line?
Of course, definitely, 100%.
Given all the risks that you mentioned that are part of the business, the stress, the headache that comes with the business, would you willingly let her get into this?
Absolutely. Like I said in the beginning, it's very addictive. Why is it addictive? Is because you don't know what is going to be thrown at you when. Therefore, you go with a mindset, a clean slate every morning to the office, ready to face that challenge, ready to look forward to whatever is thrown at you. That confidence level will come only when you're extremely honest to your work and you know what you're doing. Honesty is not the only thing. You have to absolutely understand the way it is working, know the details and the knowledge of it. You वरवर नसू शकतं काम करणं. So if you're prepared for that challenge, and when the challenge comes and you handle it very well, that gives you another level confidence of what you have just done and overcome that barricade. Then you're ready for the next, then the next, and then the next. And this is the addiction I talk about. And if you get good at it as and when you progress, of course there are some hits and misses too. But if you get good at it, and when having said that, you're rewarded by the money part of it, I think there is no looking back.
So are you prepping her for it already?
Not really. I wouldn't say. My son and my daughter both see me working very hard every day. I do struggle a lot to listen to their everyday commotion in school, their homeworks, projects, etc. But there is a lot of respect that I get from them when they know that I'm struggling. There are many down days than good, if I may say, in the business because of these everyday challenges that I'm talking about. And now they know how to gauge me, how to handle me, my moods. So I, I don't definitely leave up to them. But when you're rewarded with the perks, I don't think they should not think of it.
So basically, they're getting a hands-on into handling tough customers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Impossible. If you can handle anything.
Good. Uh, Moving on, how do you balance your family life and the work part?
It is tough. Um, I have compartmentalized every part of my life. Of course, there are priorities at different levels of stages of life. So maybe 5 years back, I was struggling to make things meet since my children were also small. My house was new. I was setting up a new house. So it was a big challenge then. But now, when you get hold of things as and when stages of life occur, your family becomes more supportive, more hands on with doing their own business. So I have now at this stage removed myself from the day to day course and now focused on work more. What we at this age, at 40s and 50s, need to look at ourselves is our health and our hobbies, because you just tend to get more and more absorbed into day to day work. And that is where all of us probably make a mistake of ignoring our health. So, yes, I've now started looking after my health also. So, like I said, I've compartmentalized my departments and I've quite well managed my time with all these, keeping my hobbies and family life and work together.
Separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us more about Sonia beyond work? What does Sonia like? What is Sonia's passion? Your hobbies? Things that keep you grounded.
Um, there are multiple things I would want to do at any given time. I've never thought of doing only one thing. I always try to jump to many things. But one constant in my life always has been dance. I'm a Kathak Visharad. I'm a student of Guru Pandita Manisha Sathe, and been working, learning dance under her for the last 25-30 years now. So that has been the constant and consistent part of my life. Yes, today also I am dancing under her. I have a nice group of dancers who we meet every week and practice our dance.
So does that is dance an outlet for you to probably deal with your stress?
Absolutely. It makes me forget the day to day tensions that or the stress levels that are there. Music always helps you to calm down in every way.
Sonia, we now come to our rapid fire round, starting with society redevelopment or greenfield projects.
Always done the greenfield projects, but redevelopment is the way forward.
Vastu or design first.
Both actually, but inclination more towards Vastu for sure.
As society members, what is more important? Corpus spend or rent hike?
Percentage and extra percentage only.
For solar, would you rather give solar power or solar based water heating?
Solar power, PV, as absolutely value add for the next 20 years.
Legacy employees or fresh hires?
Legacy employees, of course.
Brochure amenities or functional amenities?
Functional amenities anytime.
RERA compliance or speed of construction?
RERA compliance.
Between buyers, NRIs or your local buyers?
Mix of NRIs and local buyers.
Dad's way or your way?
Dad's way always.
Weekend site visits or weekend lunch with family?
Weekend site visits.
Marketing or word of mouth?
Marketing.
Thank you. That's been very insightful, and I hope your answers were not politically correct. And
I tried not to.
so, after completing 2 decades in the business, what would you say have been your defining milestones?
Very tough question. But to pick only two, I would say when I began, like I said, the getting the ISO 9001-2005 certification was a very big milestone. And the second would be completing a project very close to our hearts. It was Nakshatra, was a COVID project. We finished it on time, even after getting multiple extensions from RERA. We chose not to take the extensions and completed on time and delivered full possessions in September 2022.
That's really unheard of, because we've been through the COVID cycle. A lot of projects went at least to a 6 month or a 1 year extension.
Correct.
That's really recommendable.
Yes.
Like, you were the first mover in ISO. There's a lot of green building initiative that has come over the last 10 years. Has your firm been a part of it, and how do you implement it on sites?
Very much my firm, my company has been very serious, active about green buildings. So, to tell you interestingly, Irene, our project, was the first project in the whole of Pune to get the incentive FSI through achieving those building points from the PMC, the Pune Municipal Corporation. We've done a lot of good work in that building, and now, of course, everybody has followed the trend and got the. It's not just of getting extra FSI. I truly believe it's been a value add which we have given as a gift to our clients. For example, the solar heating system that we provide. Today, that we are giving the new tech solar panels that we install in the projects, close to good 8 or 9 months, the building has had zero electricity bills, the common electricity bills. So that is the saving that we provide. Good efficiency for water as well. Water saving fixtures also we are providing. So it's a very value add amenity, I would say. And definitely green building is the way forward.
So, do all your projects by default now have green certification?
We may or may not take the certification depending on the size of the plot and the necessity, as it may be a little time consuming to go through the compliances. But as a policy, as an internal policy, we have decided to follow each and every norm of the green building ratings for every project going forward.
It's been an absolute eye opener understanding a perspective for a woman who's also a third generation in a 60-year-old firm. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will appreciate your point of view. Coming to the end of this podcast, what are the 3 things you would like to see addressed?
There are many things, but 3 things would be today's infrastructure is rapidly growing. Demand is growing. Many people are coming together, coming to Pune for a way of living, or even buying a second or a third home. So infrastructure definitely needs focus, water, electricity, basic living things, living needs. Um, Second one would be ease of business. We all have been striving very hard. Construction is again a multidimensional work industry. Everything takes time. Even we have strived hard to finish our projects on time, but many a times permissions, bureaucracy, हा कागद त्या डेस्कवर, तो कागद त्या डेस्कवर, तेच तेच काम 10 वेळा करायचं is a waste of time. As digital age ahe, AI ahe, we all should make use of it. Lately, I heard Mumbai is following the AI trend. I think very soon it should come to PMC and PMRDA. And lastly, very strongly, I feel that women developers need to be there. Women need to be a part of this extremely dynamic industry. If not the management, at least be a part of it. So, appeal to every developer in Pune to at least involve one woman from your family in the business.
Thank you for those insights. And I really hope we have a lot of guests who are women in the industry for our podcast. Just to give you a small insight into our firm, 70% of the staff in my office is predominantly women.
Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that.
We make sure that this number is always maintained. And like you said, you come from a position where it is difficult for the other person initially to understand that women are in a position of making decisions. My head of contracts, my head of design, my head of estimation, all these are women. These are the ones who actually finalize all the contracts across the board on all our projects.
That is so good to hear.
Thank you for taking time and being on the show. Here's really hoping women participate more in this industry. There are people who are setting examples for a lot of them to follow. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you very much, Rohit, for having me.